Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to Undercover ET. That's right, Undercover ET. I've reverted back to the original name, and what we're going to do, we've had a complete rebrand, so new logo, new feel, new look, and just to make things even more interesting, I have relaunched, or I will be relaunching, the new channel, Undercover ET Extra. And the reason why I've done that, folks, is because I've got a bit of a gold mine out here in terms of what I can capture. I had a friend over yesterday who I haven't seen in like 6 or 7 years, and she came over, pulled her phone out. It was one I actually really want, and I was talking to her about what I've been doing, because my whole life's changed drastically, and she has no idea what I've been up to. And I told her, and she was just wowed, and she said, I've never captured or seen a UFO. I said, get your camera out. So she pulled her phone out, put it at the window, and it's a Samsung S24 Ultra. I really want that phone. I really want it. But look, guys, really clear footage. She'd never captured anything like this in her life, and it didn't take long. I think all of 1 second. 1 second. And we did like just over an 8-minute clip. So we're going to look at that, guys. First of all, I want to talk about 3i Atlas, because look, I know, and I didn't mention this in the last video about the exposure time and the distance, the speed it's traveling at, and all that stuff. Most objects are going to look quite tic-tacky. So when I said it looks like a saucer, it didn't really look like a comet at all, to be honest with you. And distance is a factor, obviously, and so is the camera that they're using. I get that. And I'm not a scientist or an astronomer. I'm not going to pretend to be. But just, I've been looking at, you know, obviously prior to that video, and even in between then and now, I've been looking at images to see what comets look like in the sky. And I'm still unsure. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm still unsure. Comets are comets in my opinion. You know, they've got long tails, they're spewing out all sorts of gases. They look exactly like what we know a comet to look like, right? So this is what makes 3i Atlas special, but also the way it's traveling, the trajectory, the speed, the size is really, really strange, guys. Avi Loeb makes some good points, you know, even though he's still not sure what it is, and he does state that, and I do back him on that. It doesn't look like a comet to me. Now, if it is, it's the first of its kind, okay? A lot of people don't really understand astronomy, and the ones that do say that there are elements to this that they've got question marks over it. A lot of people just going with comet because it's a safe option, based on everything they've seen in the sky. It's safer to just say it's a comet, but no one really knows yet. And if they do, they're not sharing the information with us. And this is the problem that we've got. We're getting very little information in from NASA and other space agencies about this. And you've all heard about the close down of the US government during this time, and it meant NASA sites stopped working conveniently during this time. But guys, I just want to take you through to the 3i Atlas tracker. If you haven't had a look at it already, i3atlas.com. So check it out. It gives you all the latest information on 3i Atlas. And the perihelion, so closest approach to the sun, is on October 29th, 2025. And then we've got the Earth flyby, which is the closest approach to Earth, which is December 19th, 2025. So right before Christmas, there's going to be some big hype, because we're going to finally get some real good images of this thing. It's the closest point to Earth. And that'll be our opportunity to capture some really good images, right? Let's see what happens between now and then, because they've shut off shop right now. They've just completely gone in the dark with it. But as information comes out over the next coming days, which I'm sure something will, eventually, they can't stop this date from coming, right? Let's hope they can't. Let's see what happens, guys. Let's see what happens. Like I said in the last video on this, I don't know what it is. I said it looks like a saucer because of just the way the light was shaped. We don't know really what's in the center of that. Any shape which is creating this issue, like with the way it's moving, the fact that the moment it started getting penetrated by the sun's rays, it should have changed course just a little tiny bit because it's losing mass, right? Well, it's not doing that because of the size of it, apparently. So this is all new data, guys. All new data. Let's see what happens. I can't wait. Okay, we're going to move on to X, and Skywatch Signals posted this one. Avi Loeb, the 1,000,000 to 1 odds that 3i Atlas was just a random visitor, and why its 5-degree tilt might actually make sense if someone or something actually sent it. Let's have a read. On October 3rd, 2025, the interstellar object 3I Atlas passed just 29 million kilometres from Mars. Next, on March 16th, 2026, it will pass within 54 kilometres of Jupiter. 2 planetary encounters in a single flyby, and the math says that shouldn't happen by chance. Number 3. Low round the odds, and for 3I Atlas to align this way with both Mars and Jupiter, you'd need an orbitable plane almost parallel to the ecliptic within 4.89 degrees. Odds of 0.002. Basically, it shouldn't happen. Number 3. Avi Loeb ran the odds for 3I Atlas to align this way with Mars and Jupiter from its location. And the odds were stunning, guys. Look at this. An orbital plane almost parallel to the ecliptic within 4.89 degrees. Perfect timing to cross both planetary orbits. Odds of 0.0002%. Multiply these and you get a probability of less than 1 in a million. Whether it's a rock or not, you've got to admit, this is a really, really strange mystery. Whatever it is, where did it come from? What's it doing out there? Where's it heading? How old is it? It's huge. It's huge. That much we do know. You know? I can't, you know, it's hard to fathom. It really is. So the question then becomes, if it's not random, who designed that trajectory? And if someone did design it, why a 5-degree inclination? I mean, there's a lot of whys. Maybe we'll never know why, you know, unless this thing stops off and says hi, you know. Maybe we'll never know why. But you've got to admit, freaky stuff. Number 5. Loeb points out that extraterrestrial astronomers would likely spot our solar system the same way we detect exoplanets, through transit surveys. From their perspective, our planet would appear to cross the face of the sun, just like we see the Kepler's discovery. So, yeah, I mean, our sun and the Earth are like this. They're moving, guys. And so what's happening is, if a visitor was to look from a distance, they would see a small dot in front of the sun at some stage, and then they would see that dot moving across the sun, and they would see there's a planet with potential life. So Avi Loeb is looking at this from a very science-driven mind. You know, if someone's actually looking at us, this is how they would find us, just like we would find other planets with life on them, right? Yeah, unless they put us here, in which case they've always been watching, and they're probably right on us, which I believe is the case, right? Because Avi Loeb is screaming, in one hand, there's evidence of extraterrestrial life potentially, certainly ET crafted, what Tim Burchett is saying, right? And I can tell you guys definitively right now, for those that haven't been following the channel, we are not alone. Okay, we're not alone. But at the same time, we need to find out where they're from and if they're actually from space or from Earth, right? Because we're only seeing them on Earth, and a lot of people are not admitting the fact that they're maybe coming from space. And this is what makes this such a pivotal moment, is this 3I Atlas object, because everyone who knows these things are real just want this to be the deal, the real deal, because it will just shut everyone up and the world can move on to the next stage after acceptance. What the fuck do we do about it, right? So that's where I would love to see us be, and I'd love to see awareness just rise on this. But anyway, number 6, but they only see these transits if they are sitting within a narrow conical disc aligned with our ecliptic plane. That cone's thickness depends on the telescope quality and how small the object they can detect crossing our sun. So again, just from a scientific perspective, it does depend on their technology. It depends on how advanced they are. It depends on what they've got, how far away they can see. Depends what they actually look for, if they do look for certain gases or chemicals. I can tell you now, if anyone is out there that is slightly more advanced than humans, they've got this down, right? Because we're quite clever, really. Well, we're much smarter than the average living being that's on the planet, that's not human, right? We are much smarter than animals, much smarter. In terms of technological advancement, I think we are way behind in terms of natural ability. Not to say that we're not capable of some crazy stuff, because we are. And I'll get into that maybe in my next video, because honestly, there are people out there that can do some amazing stuff. Watch this space. But anyway, let's carry on. Number 7. That's where the math gets interesting again. Between Mars and Jupiter lies the asteroid belt, a vast torus of debris about 800 million kilometres wide and 150 million kilometres thick. The transits of those asteroids define a 10-degree wide observational cone. So again, we've got loads of debris, we've got loads and loads of evidence to see how they're moving, where they're moving, and obviously that depends on which kind of gravitational field they're following, but he's talking about one specifically there in the asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars. So they'll all be going and following the same gravitational field, right? And you know, if they all came into the same sort of pocket of space at a certain speed, they would get caught up in that gravitational field. So that's how that would work, I would imagine. But let's move on to the next point. Number 8. In other words, if a civilization located anywhere within that 10-degree band observed by our system, it could easily notice Earth, Mars, Jupiter and the asteroid belt all transiting the sun. They'd know the region hosts solid worlds and water-bearing rocks. They would. If we can, and there is a civilization only slightly more advanced than us, they would find us, guys. And this is what made the WOW signal such an amazing thing recently, because it come within 9 degrees of 3i Atlas direction. Okay, and they know exactly where it came in from. Obviously, they can't see exactly how far away where the origin was, right, where it started, but they can see quite far, guys, and they can see where this thing came in from, and it was within 9 degrees, the WOW signal, guys. So what if the signal was sent out a long, long time ago, and by the time 3i Atlas came in, it obviously made some turns along the way, a 9-degree difference between its start point and to when it came into visual for us. It's a what if, but what if, right? Number 9. So if they wanted to send a probe here, they'd launch it along the same 10-degree band to minimise travel complexity and maximise interception chances. Sound familiar? 3i Atlas orbital tilt is 5 degrees in the middle of that cone. That's what we're saying. Its WOW signal was within 9 degrees. This is travelling within 5 degrees of that cone. That's pretty flipping awesome, guys. Number 10. Loeb calculates the mass to be more than 33 billion tons. For context, SpaceX's Starship is just 5.5 tons. About 6 million times lighter. 6 million times lighter. If this thing was built, not born, it came from a civilization with engineering far beyond anything we can imagine, based on its size. 100%. If it is. If, again, a big if, right? I appreciate that. And let's not forget that Loeb has now catalogued 7 anomalies tied to 3i Atlas. Its size, jet, composition, polarization, inclination, timing, the angular link and the WOW signal. Each one pushes the boundary of what a natural comet should be doing. And they know this because they've observed many, many comets. The size is a big question. The trajectory is crazy. Everything about this spells trouble, and they still don't know what it is. That in itself, if you take the whole thing, put it in one basket, that is a big red flag. It is, guys. There's too many coincidences and they still don't know what it is. That tells me that whatever that thing is, if it doesn't want to be detected, it's doing an effing good job. So who knows, guys? Only time will tell. We're still not there yet. I will keep you up to date and in the loop as soon as we get more images, if they get released. I'm hoping some other astronomers out there will be on the case. I know they are, and I know that they've been really tirelessly looking at this thing and scratching their heads as well, because a lot of people were just expecting that typical comet look, guys, and I don't know if it's a comet or not. So look, don't give Avi Loeb any grief over this. He's not saying it's an alien ship. He's saying this is a potential, and this is somewhere we should be looking, because if they came in from space looking like a rock or looking like anything that we're just quite used to seeing at a distance and ignoring the little details, we could get caught with our trousers pulled down, mate, and that's not what we want. So let's keep an eye on this, and we should look at this with skepticism, yes, but we should also take it seriously, because you wouldn't leave your house unlocked and go to sleep every night just because you lived on a quiet street. You'd still lock it just in case, right? Just in case someone decided that they wanted to come down to that quiet street and break into someone's home. You just want peace of mind. The world just wants peace of mind. This is what this is all about, guys. Thank you very much, Skywatch Signal, and let's move on to this camera work from yesterday. All right, so as I said, I had a friend come and visit me yesterday. Lauren, thank you very much for coming and seeing me. It's brilliant to have you here. Honestly, like, great catch up. It's been 6 or 7 years. You've always just known me as someone who's just had regular jobs. Never thought that I'd get into this, right, and dive into the public eye a little bit, but it's so important to me that I just took that leap, and I shared my story with you, you know, after my father passed and everything. And well, Lauren turned around to me and said, I've never ever seen a UFO, you know, and she's into her photography. And I was like, well, get your phone out, whip it out, put it on the tripod, let's give it a go. And she whips out an S24 Ultra, and I just started having kittens. I was like, oh my God, I love this phone. It really is amazing, guys. It really is. And if you guys can help me, I mean, I don't make much, right? But I will put £250 towards buying one of these phones if I can get some donations in. They're about 650 refurbished, but check the quality of this, guys. And if you can help me, UndercoverETuk@gmail.com. That's my PayPal email address. Please just put in the reference there for mobile phone. I will buy one as soon as I have the money, because the quality on this is amazing and it's got to be done. It's got to be done. So I will be getting one regardless of donation, guys. It just might take me a little while. I was looking at the S23, but the S24 Ultra is... I like this. Anyway, let's go. So I said to Lauren, it's not going to take long. And actually, if you look, guys, it doesn't take long at all. Some people may say this is a bird. I'm really unsure, because it is travelling stupidly fast, and it looks like it's got wings, but honestly, these things have plasma jets. And then a dragon does come past, and all of a sudden it starts kicking off. So that's a bird. And in the distance, the further the bird is, they're not going to move as fast on camera, right? And if that thing zips out, you know, away from the screen in no time at all, and then a bird comes through like that, for me it's just, and I know birds go at different speeds, but there's not much in it, guys, when you're filming at distance. Honestly, there's not a lot in it. So you've got to look at the real fast moving objects, and this is brilliant, to be honest. I'm so glad that you got captures, Lauren, while you were here, because, and look at the quality as well, it's just amazing. And I did play around with the zoom, guys. The zoom is really, really good. You can pretty much get a good focus on the moon, and a relatively good close. Can't see the surface, you know, rocks, but you can get a really good close-up of the moon. And that's kind of, if you can get that, then you can get a good close-up on a plane. You can film at distance and capture. So guys, look at, I mean, for anyone who's might have missed some of these captures, they are there. This is a bird, by the way, just gliding around in the sky. Look at that. I know it looks like it's got wings either side, right? But the wings look absolutely massive, and the body looks huge as well. And it's just not, it's only there for one frame, okay? And this is a classic hockey puck, guys. She's got a close-up here of one that's just appeared in one frame. And if it is close to the camera, moving at 2,000 miles an hour plus, you are only going to catch it in one frame. That's the reality of it, right? So we get more, though. We get quite a few more that zip right across the camera, and you see them really clearly. And I was saying to Lauren as well, because she lives near my mum in Swindon, and I said to her, I said, I go to see my mum, and I pull my phone out in the garden at my mum's place, and I don't see this stuff. I just genuinely do not see this stuff, right? And I know that I get radio hits as well, so I know that what I've got out here is genuine. Like, the UAP are everywhere, without a shadow of a doubt. But I can go to Swindon and I don't get the same stuff. Look at this. That's madness. Again, it's that same small object, just emitting plasma there. And I don't know if for that moment it appears as what it is. I honestly don't know. It's flipping madness, look. It's like wings either side, right? But it's actually a bubble going around the whole flipping thing. And it moves way too fast, guys, way too fast. I'm going to try and grab a good hockey puck out of this. So I'll let it play on. You'll see fast movers zipping across during certain times, but I'll stop it on the clear ones and we'll get some screen snippets. I've only watched the first minute and 22 seconds, something like that. Whoa. I was just watching this come in here because this looks like a bird or a plane, right? Probably a bird, but we'll see. And then look at that. Look at that. Really crystal clear. You know, we've seen them like on the camera before, right? We've seen loads of these things. But that's really, really good. And just super, super fast, guys. Super fast. Look at the jumps it's taking as well. Again, just jumping through the air, frame by frame. Yeah, this looks like a bird, the bird that's gliding. Yeah, which is all good. There it is, coming into view, so you can tell it's just gliding through. And there's another one. Super quick, guys, super quick. And if you're new to the channel, this is a real thing. I know that a lot of people will say, look, they're flies, Rob. Lauren said the same thing, and I said, yeah, I fully expected her to say that, because how can anyone possibly accept this for anything less? And then I showed her the triangle-shaped saucer that I captured from behind this tree in the winter. In the winter, so there was no leaves on the tree. She could tell it was the winter. The video from the live feed was from 5-6 months ago, right? So she could see it was way back in early stages of the year, and we were getting the same object zipping through, right? Despite there being barely any bugs out there. And then this white triangle saucer comes directly from behind. Well, comes across the screen first, which was really impressive. And she was like, "That's not a bug. That's not a bird." Straight up, and then we got the point of reference. It comes from the bottom of the tree and just glides all the way up into the air. And at that point, she was like a little bit more accepting, okay, that what we're filming here has some legitimacy. And that's because, guys, and you'll know if you live in the UK, there are only a handful of bugs that actually fly around in the UK during the winter. There aren't many. You can go out, walk your dog in the fields during the winter when the ground's hard and the air's cold. You won't see any bugs really at all. And yet, during my live feeds in the winter, and when I first started doing this, it was kicking off something stupid, guys. Now, you can see, I'll just go back 5 seconds. The Dragon UAP are still there, you know, and I do believe there is actually a saucer up there with these things. Now, she didn't capture the saucer. I don't think she's captured it. But I briefly went over the video just before I started doing this, so I wanted to make sure that we had something, right? But I didn't look at it all. That's really, really good. And you can see it skipping over, and it's hard to say, but I filmed so many of these objects at different like distances. I've got some really, really clear objects, right? This to me looks like it's just in front, if not right over the tree. I would almost say just in front. Just in front. So this thing is about 190 yards away. I believe that, based on all the objects that I've seen flying past. And at 190 yards, guys, you're not seeing a bug. Because a bug technically should be the size of these leaves, if not smaller, right? The size of your thumbnail will be the size of a normal fly. The size of your thumb might be a big wasp or a hornet. It's about the size of these leaves, guys. So just to put it into perspective, and you know that you guys can go look at your trees, look at the leaves, and you'll go, yeah, a fly would only cover half that leaf, maybe. So at 200 yards, 190 yards away, are you going to really get a bug clear as you like this? Hell no, it's going to be tiny on camera. And that's where the perception starts changing for people. People start waking up, questioning what's going on. More importantly, get your flipping cameras out, get them sideways and film for yourself, because look, you may get a bit of sky there and you may capture nothing. which is absolutely fine. But you then may capture a spot where they are always flying through. And if you do that, I promise you, if you find a spot where they're always flying through, it's not just these dragging UAP you've got to worry about. You will end up capturing the orbs and the sources as well, because these things do not fly alone, guys. I'm 100% certain on that. And they have a flight path. I'm fairly confident they have a flight path. What the hell? What was that? Look at this. Look at the plasma jet coming off of that thing right there. Right, I'm taking that. I wasn't even looking up here. I was looking on the right hand side there. What? Is that the same object that's just appeared from here? And yeah, it is. So going back, it comes in on the left, dips out, and then it flies round and you see it there again. Look at that. Now some would go, that's a fly, Rob. Just bear with me a second. If that's a wing, then surely that would be a wing, that other bit of grey here. So what are these two white things? Just asking the question. If that, if that's a wing and there's another wing there vaguely being like shot out the other side, what are these two white things here? Which I think these are emitters here. I'm helping this thing move. And the plasma jets coming off of this is what we see all the time. But look at that. The movement of this thing. Another one coming off here, look. Boom. Look at that. That's giving us a better image because it's literally facing us. That's giving us a much better image. Let's have a look and see what we can get from this. Looks awesome. I'll do the enhancements at the end, guys. Look at you, mate. And it's all about the small object in the middle, right? This is what we're trying to do with Atlas. We're trying to find the object in the middle of all the haze and all the BS we've got to try and look through, right? I'm going to make a point about this as well, guys. These things, and we already know this, 8 years into the research between me and Dr. Shipe and various other people now that are creating YouTube channels, those that are doing the research know that these like to mimic. So I guess my genuine concern is, if anything's traveling through space, wouldn't they like to look like a space rock? For the most part, it just makes sense to me, right? They're the smarter of the two here. That these things are traveling around us without us even knowing about it, and they have been for all our lives. So when you take everything into account, that's why I give 3i Atlas a little bit more attention, because it deserves its attention. That's a hole in our defenses, you could say, that needs to be covered, because we don't know whether anything will come up that is hostile. We hope that there won't be. We hope they're going to come in peace, right, if ever they do, but you just don't know. And that is a really, really good image. Let's see what we can do with the enhancements there. And you've got it there again, lovely bit of plasma coming off. That's really, really awesome. It shows up there, and we get both really, really good. Moving quick. Whoa, whoa. That is detailed. And this is why I've got to get one of these phones, guys, because at the end of the day, I am at a UAP hotspot. It's right there, and I'm not giving it enough attention. So I'm going to film as much as I can without going live, so that I've got this sort of quality, and I'm going to stick it on the UndercoverETuk Extra channel. So get involved, please. Find it, subscribe to that. If you just want to see some evidence, raw, none of me waffling on, just raw evidence, guys. Please get involved. Flipping amazing. It's just too many, and I did say to Lauren, look, if you film, you're going to capture a UAP. She's like, nah. You will, I promise you. And you have, look, you can see here the size. It's slightly bigger than the one I was talking about before, and it is just in front of the tree line. Look, you can see it's in front. And so she just turned up. We didn't try, guys. We was just sat there having a chat. I said, get your phone out. Started recording. We didn't even watch the phone. We just carried on chatting, right? I said to her, I said, we will capture on this. You know, they're out there all the time. I can't wait for the winter to come, guys. I can't wait for the winter to come, because I'm going to be doing this again. And I'm going to be asking everyone, why are these things here if it's winter and there's no bugs outside? If it's freezing cold, and anyone who's living in the UK will know there's only a handful of bugs that will be flying around in the UK at that time, and they don't move all that fast. They don't move all that fast, guys. All right, Lauren. So what did you capture from my window? Let's find out. That was the one that first one I pointed out that had this big bubble of plasma pushed out. The object here is completely hazed out. This is what happens, and it looks really weird, doesn't it? Really, really weird. Okay, you can see it's kind of shapes. It does shape off like a triangle here, but hard to say. And then we've got this bubble again. We've seen this so many times, guys. The plasma that these things spew. It's really letting off quite a bit there. There he is, mate, right in the centre there. Triangular in shape, like a hat. Tiny, very small. Seen this before. And Lauren, when I see you next, I'm going to show you something that's going to just completely blow your head off. But yeah. Amazing stuff. Look at that, cloaked. If you're on the fence, you won't be next time I see you. Put it that way. Completely cloaked again, guys. I quite like that one. That pretty much sums up what UAP can do. Honestly, it just sums it up. They're translucent. They can look like flipping clouds. They can look like anything. They travel extremely fast, and they can go down to the size of a pea and then reappear and pop up like they were, like nothing happened, guys. It's insane stuff. Hard to comprehend, but that's how clever they are. Well done, Lauren. Thank you so much for popping to see me, and thank you so much, guys. That's exactly why I need to get one of those cameras. Awesome footage, and it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. I will capture as much as I can. I'm not going to back down now and just do 15 minutes here and there. I'm going to put hours and hours and hours of recording time in, and I'm going to stick it all raw on UndercoverETuk Extra, and it's just going to be raw footage, guys. You know, it's not going to be exciting, really entertaining, but I tell you what, it only takes one good capture, and that is going to be amazing. And I'm not going to hold back. I believe I've missed so much for not filming this 24/7, and I'm going to start doing it as often as I can. So get onto UndercoverETuk Extra. Please subscribe to that channel as well, and hit your notifications if you are interested in raw UAP evidence from the window. Guys, I appreciate your time, and I'm going to keep you up to date with 3i Atlas as the information comes out. So keep an eye on that one. Thank you so much. Take care. All the best. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.